Welcome to Salcedo Paranormal. It is Monday, August 22nd, 2022, and tonight I will be covering paranormal news. As always, you can find all of the episodes of the show, along with links to social media, ways to donate, and ways to contact me at the podcast page, which is salcedoparanormal.podbean.com. That's SALSIDO paranormal.podbean.com. Always happy to hear from you all, whether you have comments or questions or topic suggestions, or if you have stories of paranormal experiences, whether they're your own or from others that you trust. Happy to either read those or have you join me on the show to talk about them. And starting this week here, this first full week back to a 5-day week schedule. I'm really enjoying it, and now that I'm not trying to fit quite as much into the shows, it is a lot easier, and so I think that's making it so it's a little bit I enjoy it even more than I did before, so that's nice too. So because of that, I do have a handful of stories here to talk about, but again, not as many as what I used to put into a news show. So just so everyone is aware, doing 2 to 3 true paranormal stories from the web now when I do those shows, and then with these news shows, I'm doing 3 to 5 news stories. So that's the new format. Of course, with other shows where their reviews or deep dives into topics, I don't plan on changing them a lot because I still want to have to cover these things and take as long as possible with them. But yeah, so anyway, that's the plan. Also, this Thursday night, which actually will be Friday morning for me by the time it happens, I will be on the Jess Rogie show on the Fringe FM. So looking forward to that. That happens at 11 p.m. Pacific, 2 a.m. Eastern. And so that'll be obviously way after my show is done for that night. And so yeah, I'll definitely provide a link once it gets closer, and in the server and everything, and make announcements and all that. So just wanted to give everyone a little bit of a head start to find that show, and because Derek, another friend of the show, is going to be on the Jess Rogie show tonight. So definitely recommend listening to that show every Monday through Friday. And so yeah, it should be fun. And I believe that covers all of that. Now with the news stories, I always share them in the Discord before the stream, and then of course I always include them in the episode description, both on the podcast feeds and the YouTube channel. So, and I always recommend everyone check them out because there are pictures in the articles, and of course I don't read the article completely. So yeah, just definitely recommend checking those articles out for more details. So speaking of that, let me get to this first article here. And this is from Collider.com. And this talks about, the title is 10 Ghost Story Tropes and Their Origins. Now, what's amazing to me about this is, and this is by Luke Hasbrook? Not sure. But this is really neat to me because these may be tropes in fictional stories, but they're, if you think about it, people have sightings of some of the things that they talk about in this article here, including the whole the way you see in fiction, you'll see spirits wearing uh, sheets, and or at least covered in a sheet. And let's see here. I'm just going to skip to the part that talks about this here. So it talks about how the white sheet is just really well known in fiction, but the article talks about how uh, going back centuries, the when people passed away or when they were deceased, they were wrapped in white burial shrouds. So when apparitions are seen as just masses of white light or white energy, or even figures that seem to just be a figure covered in some kind of some kind of fabric that it seems to be that color, close to that color. That's not necessarily just something in fiction that happens to people. So I really thought that was neat. And of course, you hear about people. I think it's more common in many cases to see people that are just dressed in white, but still, that's a so that's why I really thought this article was neat in that it talks about these things. Um, so let's see what the next one is here. Another one they mention is that another thing that happens in ghost stories is the idea that ghosts have lessons to teach the living and the protagonists in the stories. And I think that goes back to this idea that they're here for reasons, and spirits will be here for reasons, and so that's why they remain here for whatever reasons are close to them personally or just in general, and then they try to communicate with people, um, and to provide information or ideas or um, just those kind of things, thoughts or some messages, all of that. And of course, the next one that goes on to ghosts with unfinished business, that can be part of the reason why spirits. And again, this is really kind of attached to the idea of ghosts as spirits of those that have passed away or that have died. So let's see here. I'm looking into this. Of course, it mentions other ones like ghost hunters, haunted houses. So there's more in this article here. Poltergeists. So, but if you think about all these things, you hear stories about these things out in the real world. So, just a really neat article, I thought, and about especially the thing with the sheets. I thought that was an amazing thing. One of those things where it makes it's. I just wonder why I didn't think of that, um, but yeah. So neat article there. Definitely suggest reading it and go from there. So let's see here. So yeah, that's the first article. I'm gonna try to now with these articles. Now that I'm not doing so many in a show, I'll try to go into a little more detail with them as well, much as I can anyway. So, but yeah, neat little article there. This next one is from higgypop.com, quite the name. And this one, let's see here. This one, the title is "What Could Explain the Ghostly Figure I Saw at Winchester Mansion." And this is we don't need to dig too much into this. It's really basically an experience. But the author here, and that author, let me see here if I can find an author. I'm not seeing one, but you can check out the article for more details. But apparently, the writer of this article wrote another one previously that asked about that basically asked, are people still seeing ghosts, apparitions? And then they went on this tour of a location, and they saw something. And what's funny about this in a way is they saw a, let's see, they were near a chapel, the chapel inside this mansion, and this was actually apparently before the the paranormal investigation was going to begin. And this object appeared right in front of the writer of this article, and it stayed for only a second or two, and then it vanished. And it appeared, they say, to be tall, gray in color, and appeared to be draped in fabric. Again, going back to this possibly a sheet almost, and it was floating there, so it wasn't on the ground. The witness didn't see physical attributes such as like a body, like shoulders or limbs or head or facial features, but it appeared to be about the same height and width as a human. And apparently this thing appeared and then disappeared. And so a really neat sighting there. They even include an image of a computer-generated image of what they saw, basically. And I have to admit that is pretty amazing to have that kind of a sighting. And just for a couple seconds, appear and disappear right in front of you. Neat little story there. And this is apparently in the UK, based on other things I'm reading in this article here. So I like that this writer was put out there to the public, into the media. Do people still see ghosts? And then after that, they had this sighting. Just wanted to share that article. So let's see here. So that's it for that one. And now this next one, we've touched on this in the previous news segment, or at least on this story. They're apparently the Perrin family, the ones that had their experiences in the house that was featured in The Conjuring, the original movie of that. Apparently they're making their own documentary about their experiences. And I've heard people talking about this being made recently, here and there on the radio, on online radio. And I'm really curious to hear what the family has to say without the whole movie industry kind of curating everything and picking what they can or can't say, or driving a narrative to make it more scary, more frightening. I'm really curious to hear what comes out of this. And so this article, the title is, or I mean, the website is freesat.com or .co.uk, I'm sorry. And the title is A Portal Disguised as a Farmhouse. The True Story Behind The Conjuring. And so again, this is just mentioning this location and the stories of the actual paranormal activity that happened there. So, and of course, they mentioned that the movies were very loosely based on the real experiences. So, seems like this house and this story continues to be out there. So, I like following these stories and locations now whenever they pop up in the news, because it's you sort of can kind of track how things are going, and it's just something I like to do. It's interesting, I think, to see what happens and what comes out of these stories and these documentaries and all that. So, so that's it for that article. This last article here is from NBCNewYork.com. And this article makes me wonder, and I've wondered this before, what happens when buildings that are said to be haunted, what happens when they're torn down? And I think there's a lot of possibilities there as to what happens. I don't think there's one answer. But this article is, let's see here. The title says, New Jersey school long considered haunted, set to be demolished. And it says, for many years, the 1930s era landmark has had a reputation of being haunted. And this article is by Ted Greenberg. So this is about the school that it was in operation, but apparently, obviously, is no longer. And really, there's not much that I need to talk about in terms of the history of this place. But it mentions this is apparently the Edwards School, and people have reported paranormal activity there for a long time. Even news crews, news media outlets have gone with or have talked to paranormal researchers who say they've caught mysterious images on their cameras and even reported hearing voices inside. So, and of course, it's been featured on TV shows, targeted by vandals, unfortunately, as well. But still, just this article brought up this question to me, and it always does. I always wonder what happens to these locations, to the land. Would the spirits stay there, especially if maybe a new place was built right after, or if that's not developed right away? Do they go somewhere else? I don't know, but just wanted to share that article and raise that question. So, I think that's going to do it for today. I know, like I said, these shows may be shorter from now on, but I think it's necessary if I want to do a full week of shows, and I really do. So, that's how this is going to be from now on. And tomorrow night we'll be back with I'll be back with true paranormal stories from the web. Wednesday will be another comic book review episode with Derek. And Thursday will be more paranormal news. And that's the plans for the rest of this week. So, I believe that covers everything. Thank you all for listening. We're coming up now on almost 2 years of the podcast being out there. Halloween will be the 2-year anniversary mark. And so it's amazing to think back to when the show first started, from then to where it is now. How much has changed and everything. So, but so we'll do something for Halloween. And I think it's on like a Tuesday, but Monday or Tuesday, but still, I'll do a special show for that, as always. So, and I think that's basically it. So, but yes, thank you all for all of your support and listening. And I also would like to say, just please always feel free to share the show with others you think might be interested. And I know a lot of you do, and I appreciate that. So, thank you all, and I will talk to you all tomorrow night on the next episode of Salcedo Paranormal. Take care, everyone.